David, just how rare is it for Ottawa to delay like this?
So for budgets, technically, there's nothing legal that requires the government to put forward a budget under any specific timeline. It's just kind of common practice that in April, the budget is presented, etc. So we're looking at about 568 days of delay for this budget. It has happened before. It happened in 1943 and 1944, 482 days for World War II. It happened in 2000, 2001, 651 days. That was in the aftermath of 9/11 and all the uncertainty. It happened in the Harper era in 2014, 2015, the lead up to the election. That would be maybe where some people would argue um, the political gamesmanship about releasing the budget were at play, although they were citing a decrease in oil revenue at the time. And then, of course, 761 days because of COVID was the delay in the 2020 budget. So it's not unprecedented, but traditionally speaking, it's been in moments of crisis, wars, 9/11, the pandemic. So that makes this a little bit different.
Now, there has been a lot of chatter about the size of the deficit in the budget. What are you hearing about just how high it could be?
So the rumors are, and it's hard to piece together because right now everyone is essentially guessing based on promises. But we're looking at a potential budget deficit of $100 billion. And so to put that into context, nominally, the highest budget deficits in Canadian history. So 2020, the COVID deficit was 327. In 2021, it was 90 billion. In 2023-24, it was 61 billion. In 2009, 2010, that was 56 billion. And in 2019, it was 40 billion. So significantly larger than what we've seen, let's say, in the last 10 years. Definitely concerning from the prospect of that's a lot of debt that has been added to the government's books in the last decade alone. Um, but in the historical context, what's really important to understand here, so those were just the nominal figures. Um, if you adjust for inflation, this would be the second largest budget deficit in Canadian history. So the COVID deficit, once you adjust for inflation, is about 372 billion. The 2021 budget is about 96 billion once you adjust for inflation. And so this is actually bigger than any other budget deficit, with the exception of the COVID deficit. And that probably has a lot of people asking some tough questions about whether or not the uncertainty presented by COVID is even remotely similar to what we're dealing with today that would potentially justify a deficit of over $100 billion.
And what other party is going to support the budget if there is a deficit that large?
Well, the conservatives won't. It would be very hard for them to remain consistent at all and support a deficit with a number that high. The NDP likely will, as we've discussed before. I mean, without a leader, they need the longest runway possible to have a leadership race and get the most out of it. So I could see the Bloc and the NDP supporting it, probably playing a little horse trading for special projects here and there. But it's, I think, almost certain that regardless of what is in it to appease the Conservatives, they will not vote to support the budget. And you'll likely see this pass with support from the Bloc and the NDP. Because, of course, if it fell, we would have an election, and that is something that both of those parties would like to avoid at the moment.
David, thank you so much for the time.
No problem.